Notes on the Being of God. Thomas Watson offers 6 proofs for the existence of God, followed by 6 examples of how to use each point for constructing a sermon message. Use 1, use 2, etc. Personally, I feel this is the most dated of Watson's sections. Since it is more than 400 years old, that isn't too surprising. Arguments from design, the ontological argument, and more can use some updates. I've worked on creating a few theological arguments for the existence of God, yet those are novelties more or less. Ultimately, one has faith or not and uses one's reason or not in choosing to believe that the first particular waveform that collapsed into an eigenvalue formed as a field phenomena given to exist by God. I especially like Watson's 5th proof for the existence of God. 5, that there is a God appears by his prediction of future things. He who can foretell things which surely shall come to pass is the true God. God foretold that a virgin should conceive. He prefixed a time when the Messiah should be cut off. Daniel 9:9-6. He foretold the captivity of the Jews in Babylon and who should be their deliverer. Isaiah 45:5. God himself uses this argument to prove he is the true God and that all the gods of the heathens are fictions and nullities. Isaiah 41:13. Testimonium Divinatus a veritas divinationis Tertullian, to foretell things contingent which depend upon no natural causes is peculiar to deity. Here's my blue balloon argument. I wrote this in February 2002. The ontological argument and the argument from design are well known. Of the numerous others that provide analogies regarding the absurd and attempting to disprove the existence of God, one of mine is the blue balloon argument. The blue balloonist point of view is up and away from the ordinary self-originating inflationary universe models. The universe is like a balloon in rapid growth of expansion from singularity to omega. The hot Big Bang is the force that contained all the inertial momentum, force, energy, mass necessary for the composition of the entire universe. The clumps of coalescing mass, such as galaxies, are on the balloon walls. From its humble yet radical beginning, the future of the balloon was predesigned. Some of the balloon's intelligent phenomenalities are not sure if the balloon will expand forever, blow up, dissolve, or collapse under its own stretch elastic strength. Gravity back down to a humble singularity and perhaps inverse right on through to expand in the opposite direction as an antimatter balloon. Radicals have proposed that the balloon came into being by crashing into another balloon, ballooning membrane theory. The writers of the balloon theorize a reversible direction universe, balloon going back and forth like a pendulum from antimatter universe to matter universe. May obviate the need for a designer as the balloon has existed eternally from the beginning. Some writers have commented that the airbag space is expanding quicker with space from an unknown source. Isn't it absurd for the balloonist to conjecture that no intelligent designer of the balloon could exist? One discerns that philosophical arguments of first cause and the existence of God differ somewhat from arguments about the mechanics of creation and of arguments that the mechanics of creation require a designer. The philosophical methods are easier to reduce to yes-no propositions that must ultimately be decided with faith. It is difficult for finite beings with finite minds to comprehend the infinite. At best, one might understand abbreviations of infinite things or perhaps classify transfinite infinities along the mathematical set paradigmata of the mathematician Gregory Cantor. Yet one returns to the parameters of an initial non-temporal being always existing whom foreknows all things to be created or phenomenally appear within creation. Watson writes, quote, God is a spirit, infinite, eternal, and unchangeable in his being, wisdom, power, holiness, justice, goodness, and truth. Here is 1, something implied that there is a God to express that he is a spirit. 3, what kind of spirit? 1, implied that there is a God. The question, what is God, takes for granted that there is a God. The belief of God's essence is the foundation of all religious worship, Hebrew 1:1. He that comes to God must believe that he is, unquote. There must be a first cause which gives being to all things besides. We know that there is a God. 1, by the book of nature, the notion of a deity is engraven on man's heart. It is demonstrable by the light of nature. I think it is hard for a man to be a natural atheist. He may wish there were no God. He may dispute against a deity. But he cannot in his judgment believe that there is no God unless accumulated sin, his conscience be seared, and he has such a lethargy upon him that he has sinned away his very sense and reason. 2, we know that there is a God by his works, and this is so evident a demonstration of a Godhead. Page 42, end quote, Watson. Quote from 43, Psalm 14:1, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. He does not speak it with his tongue, but says it in his heart. He wishes it. Sure, none can be speculative atheists. Unquote, page 45. 3, we may prove a deity by our conscience. Conscience is God's deputy or vice-regent. Conscience is a witness of a deity. If there were no Bible to tell us there is a God, yet conscience might. Conscience, as the apostle says, either accuseth or excuseth. Romans 2:15. It acts in order to a higher judicatory natural conscience, being kept free from gross sin excuses when a man does virtuous actions, lives soberly and righteously, observes the golden maxim, doing to others as he would have them do to him. Then conscience approves and says, well done. Like a bee, it gives honey. Natural conscience in the wicked accuses. When men go against his light, they feel the worm of conscience. Eheu quis into Scorpio. Alas, what Scorpio lurks within. Seneca, pages 43-44. 6, there is a God, appears by his unlimited power and sovereignty. He who can work and none can hinder is the true God, but God can do so. Isaiah 43:13. I will work and who shall let it? Nothing can hinder action but some superior power. But there is no power above God. All power that is by him. Therefore, all power is under him. He has a mighty arm. Psalm 89:13. He sees the designs men drive at against him and plucks off their chariot wheels. He makes the diviners mad. Isaiah 44:45. He cutteth off the spirit of princes. He bridleth the sea, gives check to the Leviathan, binds the devil and changes the acts according to his pleasure. He doth what he will. I will work, and who shall let it? Page 44. The omniscience and omnipotence of God, of an eternal being, allowing the universe to be and become, has innumerable parameters and models, potential configurations, and relationships to contingent sentient life within. I describe a little of that in a comment about Brian Josephson, G.W.F. Hegel, Evolution of Spirit, miscellaneous below. Much of the contemporary discussion might use computer algorithms as formalisms and models for designing artificial intelligence. Kurt Gödel's works as formalisms and models for designing artificial about comprising incompleteness. One cannot create an accurate, finite description of the unbound infinite, exemplify the problems that not only computer designers, programmers have searching for a way to make lines of computer code become a living mind, as smart as they are perhaps, are able to understand the aesthetic difference between light and darkness, but physicists have in constructing a complete account metaphysics of the phenomenal universe. Recently I watched a video of the physicist Roger Penrose named The Emperor's New Mind, Quantum Consciousness, The Laws of Physics at YouTube. In the video he relates the reasons why he thinks a computer cannot be given an actual mind for lines of programmatic logic. Essentially he thinks that the cytoskeleton or the infrastructure that make up the brain neurons and synapses functions at the quantum level with all of the issues of quantum superposition and quantum uncertainty and so forth, and thus cannot be modeled in programmatic logic. Of course, it might be possible to design an automatic operating quantum computer one day with its own brand of artificial intelligence with real-world integration, able to randomly reconfigure material reality according to its own unscrutable will without any sort of moral observations or reservations. But yet, I think that wouldn't be a very good idea. That would be something like designing a robotic arsonist with its own will to set as a security guard in a fireworks factory. At any rate, it would take quite a long time for the clever writers of computer code and physical designers of quantum computers to evolve that sort of technology, a century or two at least, so it isn't much of a clear and present danger. A philosophical and cosmological worldview of Brian Josephson, I believe, the eponymous inventor of Josephson junctions for quantum tunneling, the Nobel laureate, that resembles G.W.F. Hegel's idea about God realizing himself in history, describing phenomenology of mind. The idea transcends the boundaries of naive evolution versus creationism a bit.